Hi, I'm Lucy from Sew Essential, and today I'm rounding up our best-selling sewing patterns of 2024. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to say is Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back, 2025. Here we are, and after a much needed break, I am brimming with enthusiasm and excitement for the new year ahead. I've got so many ideas, I've got so many patterns and fabrics to share with you, and I'm just really looking forward to engaging with you once again. So I hope you all had a lovely break. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all of your support in 2024. We simply would not be here without you. And I really do mean that. Every time you place an order with us, we really do appreciate it. Every time you comment on these videos, anything you do, likes on social, you know, it all means such a lot to us. So thank you so much for your support, and here's to 2025 for lots more sewing fun ahead. So the first pattern I want to share with you, and this was our best-selling pattern of 2024, is Vogue 2000, which is actually the pattern I'm wearing right now. It is a Diane Von Furstenberg re-release. It's an original 1970s pattern. So for those of you who don't know, Diane Von Furstenberg was the inventor of the wrap dress, and she then produced patterns for Vogue so that home sewers could go on and produce their own wrap dresses. And I made this dress. I absolutely loved it. It's got such beautiful quirky details on it. It's got a lovely big collar, which I really like, lovely quirky cuffs, and a pointed, sort of angled pointed waist tie. You can make a maxi version, you can make the version which is a sort of just below the knee, and yeah, I just really love sewing this pattern. I love wearing it, and it is a great pattern, and so many of you loved it too. It runs up to a size 24. All the sizes, all that information, it's on our website. So I'm going to link all of these patterns and the fabrics below, so you can jump on and order them on our website and see the full details of sizes and things there. It is designed to be sewn up. Well, it says you can use knits or wovens. So this is a knit that I made it in. It's a very stable knit. It's almost like a sort of scuba weight. It was very stable knit. I wouldn't use anything too stretchy for it. But today I've picked out a couple of woven fabrics because this one did sell out because it was so popular, but the woven fabrics I have chosen are this gorgeous new viscose twill that we've had in recently. It's a really lovely weight for winter. It's silky smooth, it's got lots of lovely drape and movements, and I think that would look beautiful sewn up into this DVF dress. And then another alternative that I thought could work well is this very on-trend grey leopard print fabric. I just think that's absolutely gorgeous as well. So yeah, that is another alternative that I would use to create the DVF dress. And then next in line was the True Bias Roscoe, another pattern that I made. I haven't got a copy of the pattern here because we've sold out again because you guys love it so much. I made the blouse version, but there's a dress version included as well. But the reason I've raved so much about this, and this was included in my favourite makes of 2024 as well, is because it's easy to sew and it's easy to fit and it's easy to wear. So in terms of the sewing, the most complicated thing you have to do is do some gathering around the neckline and around the hem of the sleeves, and then that's finished with a sort of self-made bias binding in the same fabric. That is the trickiest task that you've got. There's no fastenings on it, there's no zips, there's no buttons. It's a relatively loose fit, so you know it is oversized, so you haven't got to worry about the fit particularly, and it is just the sort of blouse that I find incredibly useful to have in my wardrobe, and I've worn it over and over again, so I'm sure I will be making more. We have still got the fabric that I made mine in. You can still find that. I'll pop links below. It's still available to buy on our website. But if you wanted an alternative, I thought this new fabric, Godmother fabric that we're stocking, which I absolutely adore, called Leo's Midnight Palace, I think it is. It's got these gorgeous pink leopards on it and that dark, moody background. I just think that would look great sewn up into a Roscoe blouse. So that was my choice for that one. The next pattern is the Lois dress by Tessuti Patterns, and this is the second time this has been one of our best-selling patterns. So it was a bestseller in 2023 as well. So I think it's just stood the test of time. You guys love it, and you know the reason being it is just such a beautiful, classic, chic, simple dress. Really lovely to wear. I made this pattern. I've got a lovely viscose twill version with a polka dot fabric. It's got definite vintage vibes. It's got a V at the front. It's got sort of almost like an empire line, I suppose, because the seams sort of go under the bust, and then it's got bust darts that come up out of that almost empire line. It's got grown on sleeves that are just finished with a cuff, so they're nice and simple. And one of the things I really loved about this pattern, the construction was really quite different and clever, and it was just a really enjoyable, interesting sew without being too complicated. And that's because the front skirt piece actually wraps around to the back, and then there's a very narrow panel that's sewn in at the centre back. So you haven't actually got side seams on this dress. They sort of finish almost like where a princess seam would finish at the back. But to give it the shape at the side, there are darts on the hips, and sewn into one of those darts is the invisible zip, and that was the construction bit that I loved. I just found it really interesting, and it was a really different technique to anything I'd done before, and I thought it did create a really beautiful shape to the dress as well. I remember looking at the back pattern piece initially and thinking this is never going to fit me because it's very, very narrow, but that's because the front comes round to the back and provides that extra width, if you see what I mean. So and yeah, when I wear this dress, I wore it in the summer a lot, and it's just the perfect day dress. I just feel so comfortable in it. It's a loose fit. It's just really easy to wear. It's a lovely length. It's a midi length. I wore it with flat sandals, but you could easily dress it up with heels as well. It is an absolute firm favourite, and it's making me feel like I really need to do another one in 2025. So that is the Lois dress, and the fabric that I think it would look incredible in is one that I've just used myself. It's another fabric Godmother. I'll be showing you a review of this, but it was the dress I wore on Christmas Day. Actually, I made a Vogue pattern with this fabric Godmother. It's a viscose twill again, so a lovely weight for winter. You know, it's a warmer twill, it's a more substantial twill, it's not a flimsy twill. They don't crease very much either, these twills, which is just wonderful because some of them can crease a lot. I never worry about that when there's a print on it anyway. I'm pretty sort of laid back about that, but I know some people don't like the creases, but actually these really don't crease very easily. They're just absolutely beautiful, but because they are viscose as well, they'd work brilliantly in the summer as well. They'll still be lovely and breathable and cool. But yeah, the Lois dress in that, because it's kind of quite a simple silhouette and there's not that many seam lines, it would really show this print off beautifully. And I love the dress that I've made in it too. Just, oh yeah, absolutely love it. My mum was like, can you make me one please? And I had to say, sorry mum, no, haven't got time. But yeah, that was the Lois dress. The next most popular pattern we sold, and all of these patterns you can buy on our website, so do click the links below to jump on and order them there and order the fabrics as well. But it was New Look 6751, which is a knit dress pattern, and yeah, I'm not surprised actually that this one's been really popular, and it is on my to-do list for this year. Just a really simple sew by the looks of it. You've got options for a crossover front, it's got a waistband, grown on sleeves. It looks like it's got gathers at the shoulder and gathers at the waist, and then just a lovely sort of relatively full skirt, which you can make in I think they're all maxi versions actually. And then alternatively, you've got an option for a lovely sort of tank top bodice, which has got a not a scoop neck, but not a crew neck, somewhere in between the two, sleeveless, and would just be the perfect holiday dress. So yeah, I would really like to make this. I remember last year thinking, oh, I need to make one of those, and I didn't get round to it. And the fabric I chose for this one is this gorgeous monochrome print jersey fabric. I can't remember if it's a viscose jersey or a cotton jersey, but all the details are on the website. If you ever want samples, let us know, or if you've ever got any other questions, just drop us an email. We're always very happy to help. But I thought that would work really well for that particular pattern. And then the next pattern that was one of our most popular was Butterick 6901. Again, I made this last year. It's a waistcoat, and actually I've got that here. That was my version. I made a navy blue one, lined it with some anti-static lining, and it was a really, really fun project. So on trend, you know, it's been all about the waistcoats, hasn't it, these last couple of seasons. And I wanted to make some nice wide leg trousers to go with it, but didn't get round to it. But I still wore that loads with my jeans and a t-shirt underneath. And I think that's the thing about the waistcoats. You can wear them without anything underneath. You can put things underneath. Yeah, just a really fun, versatile item to have in your wardrobe. A really fun sew. I did a tutorial on our channel, so check out the links below. There's a tutorial for how to bag the lining out properly on a waistcoat. I got one of my friends who worked at a really famous opera house to taught me through how she learnt to do it there, and it's, you know, the official sort of way that people do it with waistcoats, and it's a really clever technique and really enjoyable to do as well. So I'll pop the link to that below, and do sign up for our newsletter as well. I'm going to pop a link to that below, because every week we'll send you some of like the videos from the archives. You know, there'll be tutorials. We always tell you about our offers first if you're on our newsletter subscriber list as well. So it's definitely worth doing that if you enjoy this content. But yeah, the Butterick 6901 pattern, highly recommend, thoroughly enjoyed. It's got a V and then the button down front. It's got darts coming up from the waist to the bust, and then I can't remember, on the back there's darts coming up from the waist as well. There's a little waist tie at the back, and then you've got faux welt pockets, so you haven't got to actually make a welt pocket, but you've got the look of a welt pocket. You basically just sew these little rectangles of fabric and attach them to the front of the waistcoat, so that's nice and easy. And then included with this pattern are the lovely wide leg trousers and a pair of shorts as well, so really good value for money. And I hope I get round to making the trousers as well. And then the next most popular pattern was the Grainline Studios Tamarack jacket, and this featured in one of my best patterns of whatever year, some time ago. I can't remember when it was. It might have been 2022 maybe, but you know, it has been a firm favourite for years, this pattern has. Again, all the sizes are on the website. I've got a feeling this one now goes up to a 32, so it's nice and size inclusive as well. I think there's two sizes, a smaller size which is 0 to 18, and then a larger size, I think 14 to 32. But it's just a lovely quilted jacket, a really popular pattern. Lots and lots of people have made it. You can make it without fastenings at the front, or you can put buttons on the front. I think they're snaps. You can quilt your own fabric or buy pre-quilted fabric. And then the edges, I think, are finished with a bias binding. Yeah, and the fabrics that it suggests for this are things like twills, wools. Let me just check what else they say here. Sorry, I'm struggling. Oh, there we go. It's right in front of me. Midweight cottons, linens, chambrays and blends work well for this jacket. It says avoid using anything too heavy because you're going to be double quilting it, so it might become stiff. But I've actually hidden the fabric for that one away a little bit, so I'm going to have to just move this out of the way. But I thought this is a relatively new one that we've had in, and I thought it would work really well for the Tamarack jacket. It's a lovely red and blue check, lovely and cozy. I can't remember if it's a wool mix, but again, all the details are on the site, and if you ever want samples, just drop us an email. But I thought that would look gorgeous sewn up into a Tamarack jacket to wear with jeans and things. It's just such a cozy, lovely fabric. So that was my choice for that one. I think I forgot to show you the linen cotton mix fabric for the waistcoat, but you saw my version of it. So, and that was made in that linen cotton fabric. And then finally, the last pattern, which was a bit of a surprise actually, it's a new Simplicity one. I think this only came out in the summer. And yet we've sold so many of this particular pattern. It's Simplicity 9889, and it's a really simple blouse pattern, but I can see why it's sold a lot because it is quite unusual. So it's got a seam that runs from the shoulder to the hem. It's got a seam across the sort of high waist, I would say. And then it's got a button down front and a little rollover collar, and there's different sleeve lengths, I think, and different sleeve lengths, and it's just an unusual design and would probably be quite a lot of fun to sew. And you can make a shorter hemline version and a longer hemline version as well. Oh, you've got a long sleeve, a 3/4 sleeve, and a short sleeve with it. So a few options to mix and match, but I think the sort of blouse that lots of people would really find useful in their wardrobe. And I thought I would make it in this lovely chambray fabric, which we've had in fairly recently. I made a dress in the identical fabric a number of years ago, and we've managed to get the same sort of fabric back in, but I just thought that would look lovely sewn up into that blouse. Or alternatively, I might make one in that grey leopard print viscose that I showed you earlier in the video. But they are the best-selling patterns of 2024. If you've made any of them, tell me what you thought in the comments. Tell me about your sewing successes of 2024. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to jump on and check out the products on our website, sign up for our newsletter, and if you liked what you see today, please like and subscribe, and I'll very much look forward to seeing you next time.